Join me as I transform this empty fishbowl into a thriving ecosystem. Hello everyone, this is Charles from the Fishloft. These are the items you will need to create a fishbowl ecosystem. Basically, everything you would include in a regular tank, but on a smaller scale. I will go into more detail about each of these throughout the video. Let's get started. First thing in is a mesh bag filled with aqua soil. The aqua soil will provide nutrients for my stem plants. I use a mesh bag because it keeps the aqua soil from mixing into the fine black sand that I layer on top of it. A few inches of sand will create a great substrate for beneficial bacteria to grow in. A plastic bag will help to not disturb the sand as I add the water to the bowl. I have added water conditioner to remove any chlorine and heavy metals from my tap water, making it safe to add my inhabitants later on. I found this very inexpensive light online, which is the perfect size for this fishbowl. I am pretty impressed that it is dimmable for under $7. I also found this very inexpensive mini internal filter. It only came with a sponge, but I added biofilter media. This combination will create both mechanical filtration, which will clean particles out of the water, along with biological filtration, which will break down harmful waste by creating a surface for beneficial bacteria to colonize. I ran this filter in one of my established tanks, so it is now fully cycled, but I always add beneficial bacteria to any new tank I set up. I am also adding a bit of fish food for the bacteria to feed on while the tank is empty. The next day, I added a small heater, which will keep my water at a steady 78 degrees Fahrenheit. The main focal point of this fishbowl will be this piece of spiderwood driftwood, which is probably my favorite driftwood. I am adding some root tabs into the sand for extra nutrients for my stem plants, as I think it might be hard to add them later on. For the left background, I am adding a few stems of Hygrophila corymbosa that I trimmed from my jungle tank. Once established, this plant grows into a lush, dense bush, but it does need frequent trimmings. I am also adding 2 pieces of dragonstone, one of my favorite stones, because of its earthy, orangey brown color. I think the rocks will help to ground the driftwood. For the right background, I am adding some Mayaka, which is a bright green, fast-growing stem plant, as long as it gets direct light, that is. If you have watched my other builds, you know I am a fan of this easy-to-grow plant. For the mid-ground, I am adding some African water ferns, a type of Bulbitis. You don't plant their rhizome in the sand. Instead, you string them onto your driftwood or glue them onto a rock, like I have. This is a great trick which allows you to move the plant around in your aquarium in the future. Now for the foreground. I am planting Marsilia hirsuta, a small 4-leaf clover type of carpeting plant. In my low-tech setup, it will be a slow-growing plant. I am inserting Bucephalandra brownie into the crevices of the driftwood. I find this boost to be extremely slow growing, even for a boost, but I love the look of the plant. I am also adding just a few leaves of red rooters, as I don't want to block too much of the light since the LED is so small. Now for the inhabitants. I am starting with some orange Ramshorn snails and one marble limpet nerite snail. The snails will primarily eat soft algae off the glass, plants, and hardscape, but also eat decaying plant matter and will scavenge anything they come across. That makes them an excellent addition to this ecosystem. If you are enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. This channel is a fun hobby of mine and I enjoy getting feedback in the comments. I am also adding in some orange Neocaridina shrimp. If you haven't noticed already, my favorite color happens to be orange. A few days later, I found these Celestial Pearl Danios, or CPDs, at one of my favorite local fish stores. Everyone is now settling into their new home. For a small tank like this, plants play a crucial role in maintaining the ecosystem. They act as a natural water filter. They consume carbon dioxide and add oxygen. They feed off of excess nutrients, nitrates, and ammonia in the tank. The plants also help to stabilize the pH and increase the production of beneficial bacteria. I have found the CPDs to be really active and not shy at all, which I understand is a bit unusual. They are fascinating to watch as they dart among the plants and driftwood. And speaking of driftwood, I was really lucky to find this piece with its unusual burling in the middle. It really creates a unique texture to the scape. The CPDs, although very small, maxing out at about 1 inch, are really beautiful with their bluish-gray bodies and their spots and their accents of orange. This is my first fishbowl, and something about its round shape just makes it feel extra special compared to my square tanks. The reflection it casts is mesmerizing. It has become the centerpiece of my living room, and I find myself lost as I view the fish darting about. Let me know if you have a fishbowl or plan to set one up in the future.